established protocol, I would want you to enjoy this program. Nothing much but to say, it's a great honor to present and to stand at the same time portraying and talking about a man that is renowned, a man that has turned things around, a man that has been able to bring the unity that we've long wanted. I must admit, he's a man that has taken people from being nobody and made them somebody. We all know, of course, that Adamawa State has come from a state of underdevelopment to becoming that center of economic activities. I know definitely everyone that is seated here, one way or the other, will ask himself, what are projects, what are policies, what are these programs that Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri has successfully, within a short period of time, built amongst us? I believe there is no life that has not been touched. And I call on everyone seated here today to join hands, our hearts, and follow this man that has written the name of Adamawa in such a way that we don't know if there's anyone that can take over. But we know that the Almighty God will bring someone with the heart of Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri. You are welcome. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and honored participants, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this important assembly. Our focus today is on the strategic achievements of Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri in transforming Adamawa State from a previously underdeveloped region into a thriving environment for business and socio-political development. Governor Fintiri's vision and dedication have resulted in an impressive array of projects, programs, and policies. These include the revitalization of the civil service, extensive infrastructure development, social empowerment schemes, the Fintiri Wallet, student scholarship free education, housing estates, healthcare facilities, and an important interconnected network of local government roads. Notably, the construction of a world-class interconnecting flyover and interchange, the first of their kind in northeastern Nigeria. They stand out as a testament of his forward-thinking approach. These accomplishments reflect Governor Fintiri's profound expertise and potentials, his exceptional human relations skills, and his deep understanding of intergovernmental relations. His high level of development administration strategies have established him as a socio-political enigma, a leader capable of transforming a divided state into a unified and progressive entity. Governor Fintiri's projects and programs are not just immediate solutions, but are designed to meet the future needs, ensuring a lasting legacy. They embody quality and foresight, promising to serve our children and generations to come. Today, we have a responsibility to honor Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, and this can be done by embracing and sustaining every project, policy, and program he has initiated. His work has touched all aspects of our lives, both in service and structural improvement, leaving an indelible mark on Adamawa State. Let us come together to celebrate and express our gratitude to Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri for his exceptional leadership in Adamawa's name in gold. For coming, and certainly be ready to carry on with this vision as you leave this assembly. today.
Thank you once again. You're all welcome.
Thank you very much.
I stand on his behalf today. He would have loved to be here. I think at the day he was traveling, he told Victor to let me stand in for him because he might not be back. He's attending to national issues that are also of interest to all of us as citizens. When you have a leader that leads from the front, a general that stands and lead the battle from the front, all we can only do as followers is to follow and to ensure that whatever the leader gives directives to do, we do. And that's the only way victory will continue to be sure for us as citizens of Adamawa State. The changes we have seen, the policies from the brief we have seen on the screen today, the educational sphere has been changed. That there is no local person in Adamawa State whose son or daughter has not benefited from the payment of WAEC and NECO. Whether you are in school or you are not in school, your child, your brother, your sister, your nephew, your niece has benefited. And education is the foundation for every development. And we're here to celebrate the governor who knows that education should be given to the child of the poor and the child of the rich together. And that is why we're here today. Such a policy can only be sustained when you and I that are gathered here today see the importance of ensuring that our children go to school. So if there's a child in your neighborhood that is not going to school, for this singular policy of the state government paying their NECO and WAEC, I plead with you as a follower of Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri to ensure that that child goes to school so that he makes a benefit of this policy of the payment of WAEC and NECO fees by His Excellency.
To also congratulate my brother and my friend, Dr. Victor Dogo, for coming up with this great history-making initiative where we all can gather in this place this morning to celebrate a leader, to celebrate a great man that has actually shaped the direction of governance in Adamawa State. As a scholar of development administration, there is no better time to discuss the issue of sustaining the policy and legacies of His Excellency than now, when the whole world is talking about the Sustainable Development Goals. This is 2024, and we have 6 years to the expiration of the deadline to Sustainable Development Goals. And that gets me excited, because for us to kickstart any discussion about development, especially as citizens of Adamawa State, we have to predicate it on 3 fundamental questions, which was asked by a development scholar by name Dudley Sears in 1969, who said 3 questions must be asked about the development of a state, of a nation. The first, he asked, what is happening to poverty? The second, he asked, what is happening to unemployment? And the third, he asked, what is happening to inequality? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am happy that in this hall, we have both the state and the non-state actors. And one of the major objectives of this program is to talk about the aspects of collaboration. The days of folding our arms and expecting the state government, under the leadership of the state governor, to do everything for the states are over.
To briefly inform us on the best way to develop a framework that will assist all of us to sustain the project being built by Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri. But I want to appreciate, despite the fact that I have limited time, to show some photographs I have here that can tell us where we are and where we were and where we are today, for us to really appreciate what he has done to us. Please, can you give me the next slide, please? Go back. Back. Africa is facing a lot of infrastructural deficiencies in terms of so many things. And that means if you do not have things that will woo investors to come, you are not going to make any progress.
All right, thank you for staying with us on Safiya Breakfast Show. We're going to segue into a conversation that looks at sustainable development, especially when it has to do with government's policies and program. There is a nexus between government's policies and program and the people on the one hand, but this nexus can be, mistaken if government fails to connect the dots that brings people to understand them that government's policies and program exist for them, and it is up to them to connect with these policies and programs to drive sustainability. In our today's world, there has been this huge disconnect between what government is doing on the one hand and what the people are doing on the other hand. Currently here in Adamawa State, the narrative is changing as Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, the executive governor of Adamawa State, is changing the narratives in terms of infrastructural development to, changing the story of the state to one that stands with other states, committee of states in Nigeria, as a state that is developing along the paradigm that looks like 21st century. But does the people, align with these particular thoughts of the government? How can the people be meant, therefore, to join government in its pursuit to changing their story and improving the space of development here in Adamawa State? Well, let's bring in, a spokesman at one of government's functions where he spoke about sustainable development, its imperativeness to sustaining government's policies and projects. We have been joined by Dr. Jubrin El'Maude. He's going to be sharing his thoughts about the presentation which he made and how that presentation, if translated into reality, would change the story all at once here in Adamawa State. Well, Doctor, I would like to thank you for joining me on the program today.
My pleasure, Comrade. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Let's get to the matter. Yes. First off, let's take off from this particular note. What would you, tell me about the state of development as we see today in Adamawa State? The story, of course, has changed. Unlike the past, we are seeing something completely different, and it appears to me in the execution and manner of execution, we see a governor that is kind of futuristic in his plans.
Yeah, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You see, for us to invite investors, there is need for us to have serious infrastructure development. Africa is known for deficiency in this infrastructure, and that is why, despite the fact that we have the human capital development, we also have the resources. I'm talking about mineral resources. Okay. That enough to grow Africa more than the Western world. However, because of our inability to harness these resources, to utilize them efficiently and judiciously, that's why we're lagging behind. One of the infrastructure that we need is the issue of us to have serious roads, hospitals, first-class hospitals, and what have you. This will make people do right. I wish the presidential meet is here so that people can be seen.
Yeah, you see the slides.
Yeah, the slides. You see, when we don't have good roads, you don't have hospitals, you don't have securities, nobody will come to your state, nobody will come to your country that won't come and make investment. But now we begin to see a government that is doing this to roads, good road network, overhead, bridges, and what have you. Meaning this is a good thing for us to have in Adamawa, and that will bring Adamawa to be among the top beautiful states in Nigeria, and that will make people come to Nigeria, begin to see, let them make investment, just the way they are doing in Lagos, in Kano, in Kaduna.
So in a nutshell, you feel impressed with what the executive government is doing. Now, in your presentation, you started by tracing the history of the state, where it was before now, where you were kind of showing pictures of how the story was in the past. Why did you have to begin from that point?
For people to understand that this is the state of the state in the past and the state of the state presently. It's only when you begin to appreciate what happened in the past, you know it very well, then we can begin to compare whether we are growing or we are not growing.
So there is a nexus between the past and the future.
Yes, you have to bring that connectivity. This is where we are, gentlemen, and this is where we are now. Because, okay, true, then people used to know that before you come to Adama, then I think even before Nyako's time, we have a bad roads. Even from Numan to Yola here is the threat of robbery in that area.
Yeah, sure.
But now, the narrative is changing. The roads are okay. In town, there's between, if you go to my place quarters, if you go to Yola town, if you go to so many places, there's this connection. The government is doing roads that we have another additional way. that goes through the party downwards.
Yeah.
At least it's making people to get connected wherever you're coming to Adamawa. I think it's a good thing that he's doing.
So the focus of that particular presentation talks about sustainable development.
Yes.
And in what we see today, everyone is hoping that what the government or the governor is doing right about now should be sustained.
Yes.
But how that would happen is left for us to see. But why are we, so emphatic about sustainable development today? I know it's part of the UN goals. Yes. So why are we so emphatic about sustainable development?
You see, we're talking about whatever you're doing. It's not really, sustainability is about whatever you're doing today. How are you sure that it's going to also benefit the next generation? Sustainability is about where the present governor stops, the next person is going to go. How are we sure it's going to continue from there? It's only going to be possible that wherever the next person is going to come, under which political party is going to come, it's going to be very easy if we have a documented blueprint on where we want Adamawa to be in the next 20 years, the next 30 years. So for us to have that, meaning we need to have two things: ownership and inclusion.
Ownership and inclusion.
Very
so what does that imply?
It implies that whatever decision we're going to do, we have to, the governor, the present governor, the present administration need to invite stakeholders. Stakeholders, irrespective of their political affiliation, irrespective of wherever they are, provided they are people of these states, they are not to come, they need for us to come in a round table and begin to draw the roadmap of this state, where we want the state to be. So it's not about these are my parties, but people in my party that I'm going to divide. No, everybody that you think has a stake, professionals, religious leaders, political leaders, technocrats, even the non-state actors, you have to invite all of them. The grassroots, the union leaders, what have you, the NUG, the media, everybody should go down so that they will select the best out of these hands. They will sit down and begin to develop. And as they are developing this model for us, they will begin to invite other people so that the people will be reviewing this model they're developing. So, but before you know, it's going to be, we're going to have general acceptability of the document. Once we have general acceptability, and people to begin to see that our area, this is what we want, it has been captured. Our area, this is what we want, it has been captured. Then, it's going to be owned by the people of the state. So it's not about it's Fintiri, like what you have, the Concosia, we'll use government funds, we'll do bridge, and you will name it Concosia. Fintiria, what have you know, leave it, okay, this is for meant for us. If the people of the state decide to put your name, good and fine. Like for instance, the bridge we have after around Jamaica, it is named after Adi Mustafa. It is named by the government. That's not good. So that's it. So if people have been included during the process of the decision making, anytime where we need to have evaluation and monitoring of whatever we're doing, it's very, very important. So these two things are very, very important. Okay. Invite people to come together. Let them feel that they are the owners of this thing you are doing. You are taking the credit, but they feel that they're the owners of this thing, so they will do whatever it takes. Okay.
Now, you talked about inclusivity, and it appears if we are talking about that, we don't have to, specify borders. We don't have to specify boundaries. It should be open for all stakeholders that we think would have something to contribute meaningfully. So, would you say that in the past, what has been happening in Adamawa State is devoid of this inclusivity?
It's something like that.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, what we used to have probably is we used to skew it to political parties. We are in PDP, it's only people that are in PDP that will decide. We're in ABC, whatever political party we come from, we decide they are the only one that can say this is how it's
Now you consider that not right?
It's not right.
Okay.
It's not right. Think about the issue of belonging to a political party is during electioneering. Once election is over, one person is declared the winner and he has become the governor. He's not the governor of the state, not the governor of one party.
Not the governor of the party.
It's a particular Rt. Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri is not the governor of Adamawa State. And he should know that it's not everybody that has voted for him. That the fact that they have no voted, that's a particular thing that you're going to do generally across the board. Whether this particular local government, this particular people have voted for you or not, you're going to work for them. Then there is particular preference. You're also going to give people, those people who have given you bulk voting. It's not wrong doing that. But that's general thing that you're going to do for everybody. Then specifically, these people gave me their vote, so I'm going to compensate them for doing that for me. This is this is how it should be done.
Now, but this inclusion, when it comes to this kind of round table where you bring people together to sit down and talk about what constitutes, what should be development here in the state. Can this be done devoid of sentiment? Because obviously when you bring certain persons, they might be a bit selfish in terms of their approach. Can people be very sincere in their conversation as to the kind of contribution they will make in this kind of in this part?
If you are sincere, the first thing, even before inviting them, there are some people who are stakeholders, who are the real owners of Adamawa State. For instance, let me say, I talk about the first governors, the first whatever, the elders in the past, who are no longer the people like Jubrin El'Maude, Bamanga Tukur, Wani Haruna, people like that. You have to go and you talk to them. Let them give you focus. Let them help you identify the goals, where you want to go. If they identify the goals where you want to go, meaning that the most important is for us, Adamawa, where would you want us to Adamawa to be in the next 20 years? Okay. We want Adamawa to be in the same position with Lagos, Kaduna, and Kano, for instance. Then how is it possible? Then once this goal is well identified, then you begin to call these people. And along the line, if you begin to see that some people are dragging, some people are not giving sincere advices, they can be removed. We have to remove anything that has to do with our sentiment. It's about Adamawa State. It's about our states. We have no any other state that beyond Adamawa State, for instance. Then whatever decision we are going to do, we are going to weigh it. We are going to assess it. We are going to review it. If we realize that the assessment we are giving, the advice we are giving, is not going to go down well to our intention, we will put it aside. Or at least we have given you the benefit or doubt by inviting you, by giving you the opportunity to say your mind, so that you cannot say that you have been excluded. So if you realize that what you are saying, what you are doing is not in line with what is going to give us that positive outcome, we're going to put it aside, then we're going to take other people that have better option than we have. Yes, I think doing that is going to assist us.
Yeah. So you consider inclusion imperative in this
very
kind of movement,
for instance,
right?
Somebody during the last election, when he was campaigning, say, all these overhead bridges, if he becomes the government, he's going to demolish all of them. You had him.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody has that one, said that as far as he's concerned, they are not right there, they are not the right thing for government to be doing. So if he becomes the governor, he's going to demolish it. I want people to understand that the present governor is using the state's resources.
So if you demolish it, you've demolished the state's resources.
Of the state, not the resources of the governor. And what the governor is doing, as far as I'm concerned, if for you think it's not right, it is about not demolition will not be the way out. Yeah. Because if demolition you are taking it backward, we have moved from a particular place to where we think is better for us. It's better for you to begin to think, how do I maintain it, or what option am I going to do? That's why that document is important. So whoever is going to come as a governor, that governor will serve as a green light. This is where we stop. You have to go. This is what is obtainable in Gombe. This is what is obtainable in other states. But if you don't do that one, if you don't have that document on ground that guides the next governor, irrespective of where he's going to come from, wherever he is going to come from, even he's going to be a military governor, Mr. Governor, we have a document. This is where we want to be.
So the document would seem like what we used to have in Nigeria before now, a national plan.
That is it.
And at a certain point it was truncated. We don't even know if we have a plan today.
That's the problem.
It's called a rolling plan into a development plan. And I don't know if the development plan has seen the light of day for us to talk about sustainable.
At the federal government level, we were not honest. We have all the resources. We see remember we have Vision 2020. We are going to be the top 20 economies before 2020. This is 2024. We don't even know where we are. We don't know nothing. We don't know. We are confused people now. So if this state wants to have that one, it's about honesty, integrity, bringing people that have passion for the development of state, irrespective of their political religion affiliation.
So having a plan would definitely become a roadmap for the state to use. And anybody who comes in as a governor will be compelled to take a look at the document before embarking on any project whatsoever for the people of the state. So that means, in essence, it's going to help set priorities for whoever is coming in as a governor to work with.
And he has to give, during the election campaign, he has to be promised Adamawas that I will maintain the sanctity of that document. But when there's the need for us to change, that's why one of the characteristics of sustainability is adaptability and expansion.
Okay.
That the project we're doing can be adopted. The project we're doing can meet all types of scenario that comes. It can adapt to changes. It economical changes, social changes, political changes, you can adapt, and there's room for us to expand. There's room for us to expand. For instance, if you go to places like Lagos, go to places like Abuja, you see that it's a particular one small road before. But because of the number of people that are applying that road, there's room for us to expand.
Sure.
Then whatever the government is doing, he should also have that in that we need to what is the possibility of expanding this one? Because it's going to amount to waste of resources. You do road, you do hybrid, overhead bridge, but there's no possibility of expanding that in case of development, in case of population and what have you.
Okay.
Another, we have the city is becoming a good city. People from Gombe, from Taraba may wish to come down to Adamawa because Adamawa is going a bit higher, a better place than their own. So all this need to be included in the plans for us to have the possibility of expanding whatever we're doing, because it's part of the attributes and characteristics of
If I put it to you, therefore, would you consider it imperative that convergence by the Office of the Social Mobilization to the Governor of Adamawa State as a very important sitting that very day?
It is very, very important. But the only thing, as I said, the number of people attended, most of them wouldn't have any time to make this analysis before the governor and other stakeholders who were there, supposed to at least inject the ideas that we went through literature to bring on our slides for them to see that this is what we are expecting them to do, for us to have that document, and this is the way in order to achieve that one. The plans, the controlling, the how to finance, because finance is also very, very important. After the governor, how do we get finance to maintain them? The bridges, the bridges need to be maintained, the road need to be maintained. How do we get money to do that? It's also part and parcel of the objective and characteristic of sustainability.
Okay, so we're going to get to other aspects of the objective and characteristic of sustainability, but you mentioned one key other component, which you said is crucial in terms of defining sustainability. You talked about ownership.
Yes.
Many times too often, we've seen people would say it's government road, or it's government flyover, it's government this, and the attitude towards protecting, sustaining, and maintaining that property becomes this low, and so they don't feel like they are part of it. There's this kind of disjoint attitude towards government's property. They feel it's the government's own, not their own, and we negate the fact that democracy is a government for the people. So how do we now get the people to come to the realization that these projects are entirely ours?
It's through rigorous and regular installation. That Adamawa is ours. The road is yours. It is your money. It is tax money. It is that. Need to sensitize people for them to know that the roads don't allow, like just the way they advised the deputy governor gave, that make sure that the road that passes your house, through your house, it is your own. Don't allow anybody to come and spoil it. And I also make sure that nobody does that. If you protect our roads, protect everything that belongs to the government, because government uses that money instead of the governor or the government to use the money for other things. They decide to use it for the benefit of our lives, to enhance our living standard. Then they should not allow anybody to come and touch that road, spoil that road for you. Because if somebody spoil that road for you, meaning one day another government needs to go and collect money, needs to get money to come and do that same road.
Sure.
Instead of him to do another thing, we are past that.
So he'll be coming back to
again
fix
to where we have done.
Okay.
So it means we're going to be stagnant. We're going to be in one place. But we have roads, we have bridges. Now we need hospitals. We need this and that, this and that. So if you do not protect that, meaning you are not sustaining that, we are going to be in the same place. Is road. So
kind of road. It will be stagnated within one place.
Yes.
But do you see this attitude changing, just like that, or it will require a bit of force? Say, for instance, the carrot and stick, because one time too many, we've oftentimes talked about blocked drainages, for example, where you say this drainage is blocked. It's due obviously to the people's fault, where they've converted it into a refuse collection center. Just with my dirt, pour them in the drainage, and the rain comes, it has nowhere to to move through, and then it floods the house, and we cry every year. We have that same problem, and still we do not learn from it. Should there be a bit of a sense of force? I'm not saying ultimately, a radical coercive measures, to address this problem, but something like a deterrent that would help people to oblige and bend.
You see, there are important projects, very, very important, that is beneficial to all and sundry. After probably, as I said, there's need for us to constant sensitization of people. However, people who decided not to listen to the sensitization deliberately, people who are found wanting, destroying these projects, government should use them as scapegoats. They should be used as a scapegoat and they should be treated, or they should be maltreated the way the law says on them.
So for every act there should be consequences.
Yes, sir, because if you, how can you go and when they say that this is a third road that went to the house simply because you want to bring water, pipe water into your house, you decide to to go through the road, cross the road like this, spoil the road, and that is the beginning of the spoilage of that road.
Sure.
So that one should not be accepted.
For example, one of the lads that got an award at Victor Adamawa.
Yes, sir.
You could imagine a pedestrian bridge that's been converted into a toilet.
It's true.
Yes, that's kind of attitude that we're talking about. And so correcting this kind of attitude goes beyond him sweeping that particular point. There must be something from the government to compel, respect and not misuse such kind of property.
The only thing we do is through sensitization. This program that we had on regular basis, through the internet, through online, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, sensitizing people that this one is doing. Whoever is found wanting on doing that, how can you go and be defecating on pedestrian bridge? What's your problem? Nigeria has Nigerians.
Is it a question of problem?
It's a problem now. It's a serious problem. Does that look like a toilet? For goodness sake. Are you in your right senses for somebody, a matured man? I know it cannot be.
No, they're not kids.
A matured man who go and be defecating on the road. It's very, very wrong. People like that should be lashed. Seriously.
That's been a bit.
It's good like that.
Now, you talked about other characteristics of sustainable projects. You mentioned slightly financing.
Yes, sir.
Because obviously we have to talk about financing from two different points. Yes, setting up the structure, you have to need funds for it.
Yes.
And maintaining this project.
Which is very, very important.
So,
very, very important.
and it feels an aspect where we negate most of the time.
Yes.
Right? Government provides sometimes, and we don't seem to pay attention to the need that it still would require funds for its sustenance. Why is that an important aspect to
important because projects go through depreciation. And many depreciation is the wear and tear that affects the projects. So if you are not maintaining it, this place will get crack, you have to puncture it. This one will get crack, you have to do it. This one there's going to be potholes, you have to fill it. If not, one small pothole that you fill that can cost you just 10,000 naira, 20,000, 100,000 naira to refill, it can cost you 1 million naira to do. I will appreciate, I don't know the person, they were saying that it was the former SSD to maintain this road by doing the coltar, the potholes, and whatever. It's important. I know of bridges in Taraba State on your way to Makodi.
Okay.
The same bridge with this one, where it has spoiled because of lack of maintenance. In Nigeria, we have that bad attitude. We lack maintenance culture in us. Maintenance culture in us is too poor. Particularly when they say this is public item, government item. People seem to be misusing it.
That's basically the orientation I talked about earlier. Government property.
So somebody is going to use official car and turn it into a farm car.
So sad.
Taking firewood from village, dump that village. The roads are bad simply because it's not his own. He's just putting firewood, carrying animals inside, which is very, very bad.
So this attitude change must be rigorous.
Serious
it must be very, very rigorous.
And apart from the issue of being rigorous, detrimental issues to be met on people who are found. It's very good. Two things.
Yes, who are abusing. Now, before I let you go out of the studio, what exactly are we missing from your presentation? Are there any elements that we're missing out of your presentation before you tell us the concluding aspect of the presentation?
Yes, sustainability is something that government needs to be very, very serious. It's about gathering people and that discussing, clapping hand, dispersing. It's beyond that. Government should be serious about that. Government should look at people who made the presentation and accept that thing, that document they do. For instance, the first person talk about what is sustainability about. The second person talk about the good model, collaboration between stakeholders and stakeholders. The third person make a presentation of this are the procedure in developing a reliable framework for the sustainability. So we have the framework, we have the model, we have the way to do it. Put them together blend them together, that will give the state governor a very good idea on what to do. And the government does that, I think we're going to have a better outcome.
And when we talk about sustainability, we also refer to the fact that it should not be a one-off thing. No, because it's just the beginning, and it shouldn't just end like that. It should be something that is continuous, because that is the way we develop the culture, and we develop the right attitude towards government's property and projects at the same time. Well, Dr. Jubrin El'Maude, thank you so very much, and thank you for that insightful presentation also on that day. And I hope that would continue to drive for the development, growth of Adamawa State collectively as a people. Thank you so very much.
So much, sir.
All right, so Dr. Jubrin El'Maude was one of the analysts, or panelists rather, who presented a paper at the conference, the convergence that brought together notable individuals to speak about how we can have collective ownership of government projects as well as program. That's courtesy the Office of the Social Mobilization. All right, so Safiya Breakfast Show will be back with more. I hope you stick around to stay with us.